Hey, what's going on, everyone? Nick here. This video is going to be all about building your store, and I'm excited to get into this with you. Actually, it's been a little bit frustrating. I've recorded all of this content last night, like an hour and 20-minute video, going through the step-by-step process of setting the store up as I was actually doing it. And then I come to find out when I watched it back this morning that because my browser history hadn't been cleared in a while, there was all kinds of sensitive information in there from some stores that I don't want to show, and some, products that I have like saved in AliExpress and things like that. So, it's unfortunate, but I'm going to have to go back and redo this video. The content is still going to be amazing. You're still going to get everything that I intended for you to get. The only difference is the store is now already set up, and I'm just going to be walking through with you and showing you exactly what I did the same exact way, step by step. It'll actually be a little bit quicker and more concise because you won't have to see me kind of go through it and do it as I do it, and you'll just get to see the completed product. So I'll explain each part, and then you can make your store in the same way because I'll be showing you how to do it. So the content is still going to be the same. It was a little frustrating, because unfortunately, as much as I believe in the good intentions of the world, I do know that there are going to be people that sneak into this group simply looking to exploit certain things and certain information. So, I tried to go back and edit the video, and I don't have, I guess I'm not set up with the proper thing. You can't really do that in Windows Movie Maker, which is what I tried to do. So anyway, here we are going to start over a fresh video and record the content all over again. This way I cleared my browsing history and I have nothing to worry about now. So here we go. Let's get started. All right. First thing you're going to want to do when you go to start your store is definitely use this link that Francesco dropped in the group, which was super awesome of him to share this. This is a 60-day free trial, and this is exactly what I used when I did this, okay? So you'll come here, you'll put your email address in, password, and then your store name. Now, one thing to understand right away and where we're going to start with this video is your store name, because you need to choose your store name as soon as you get started, as you can see here. So there's a few ideas of where you can start brainstorming about this. Obviously, the first place you're going to start is just brainstorm whatever you may think is a good idea based on the type of store you're going to be doing, whether it's just going to be a very general store or it's going to be a niche general store. And the example so far that we've given, like TrendSparks, my store before was just general, right? TrendSparks doesn't really mean anything. It's just a general name that could sell anything. But a niche general store was like Think Geek. That was still general within a lot of different types of items they were selling, but it was niche to the geek industry and those types of things. Okay. So you want to think of that first and have an idea for which direction you're taking your store, and then you want to start putting those ideas on paper and putting some stuff out there. Just do a brain dump on paper or in a notepad or on a whiteboard, whatever you like to use. Coming up with a name is important, okay? It's definitely an important part of any business. Now, as we're getting started, the goal here and kind of what I've been really my intentions, I guess, in getting all this group and getting all of this started is to help people get a store going, a general store from $0 to $100,000 in sales. That way you can be on your entrepreneur journey, be successful, and become like very proficient in what we're doing. And then once you get to that $100,000 in sales, you can kind of sit back and look at your options and see what you want to do. All right, that's generally the way I think of it. I'm not trying to preach that you need to come up with the $1 million idea right up front. So that being said, your name is not necessarily going to make or break you, okay? You do want something clever. You do want something that sounds professional and sounds like a real store. You don't want it to be like a spammy type name that just sounds like it was just thought up in 5 seconds and not given really attention to. So you do want to come up with something good, but don't get hung up on this and spend days and days and days trying to come up with the perfect name for, like what you think is going to grow into your multi-million-dollar store. All right, you can go that route if you want to. The training that we go through in here is still going to be relevant for a small store to a big store, but my whole intention, again, is getting people started quickly and getting them to make money. And Shopify is such a flexible platform that once you learn how to do it, you can duplicate it again very easily. So my point being that you don't need to come up with the $1 million name right away. Trend Sparks is not a $1 million name, all right? But it was good enough to get me to $250,000 in sales, all right? So that's the idea there. And then once I hit $250,000 in sales, I paused that store. I decided to, explore my options a little bit. Start a new store and just keep doing that type of thing. And that's the type of system that I'm going to show you. And then you can sit back and take some time and think of the $1 million name or the $1 million business idea. All right, so that's the approach I'm taking here. A great couple of websites you should have open while you're doing this. Domize.com is one of them, because this is going to let you know what domain names are available. Obviously, the most ideal thing for you is to have a store name that matches a .com website address. All right, so TrendSparks was my store name, and my website address was trendsparks.com. You definitely want to buy a domain. All right, you're going to see that your root domain will be a .shopify.com. But that doesn't look professional, all right? If you can't afford to buy a domain for $9, people aren't going to buy from your store, all right? They're going to know right away this is not a real legit store because they don't even have a .com name. Now, in that regard, it doesn't necessarily need to be a .com, all right? So let's go a little bit more in depth into domain names and names in general. I think this is an important topic. So Domize, let me just show you how this works. You can type in anything you want, and basically it just shows you out of the 4 major categories of domain extensions, which if you're new to this, the domain extension is what comes after the name. So .com, .co, .net, .org. And there's, a lot more of them out there, especially now that a lot more just got released that are available for people to purchase. But the point is, Domize shows you if something's available. So here you can see superdeals.com is not available, all right? And this can be a frustrating process, honestly, because there's people out there that just go out and buy up all kinds of domain names because they think it's going to make them rich trying to flip domains. And, so a lot of times you can get frustrated because you'll keep running into dead ends because you'll have good ideas for names. And then, you'll notice that it's already taken, but if you go to type it in, now this may actually be a real site, but if you go to type it in, you'll see something stupid like this, right? Like this is clearly, I don't even know what this is. Somebody is just wasting a good domain name right here with this. So now it looks like they were at least attempting to use it, but sometimes you'll come up with a good name, a good idea, and you'll just know that you'll see it's taken and you'll go to look it up and there's nothing there. And it just means that people are buying them because they hope to one day sell them, all right? So they're kind of taking it off the market. Now, some of them will be for sale, which you'll see these green. If it's a green name, then that means, again, somebody bought it and they're trying to make money. So like this company After Nick, some of these companies just go out and that's their whole business, to buy domains and try to resell them for a profit, all right? One of the lowest forms of internet marketing, in my opinion. Anyway, you can do this as well. Oh, I'm sorry. If it's blue, it means it's available. So obviously this is not a real anything. You wouldn't use that, but it shows you that that is available. So any combination of words and letters you want to put in here and numbers, whatever could be a possible domain, then you can see if it's available or not. So that's very helpful in going through, because you're going to come up with store name ideas, but you're also going to want to know if that's an available domain idea as well. All right. Now, speaking a little bit more on the .com subject, all right, there's some people out there that will say, if you don't have a .com, then your website's not going to be successful. And there's pros and cons to it. All right, .com is definitely still the most trusted and preferred domain name that you can get. So it makes sense. And as you'll see with me, I always do my research and try to find a name that's a .com. So yes, I do recommend that, but at the same time, that doesn't necessarily mean that you can't start a site that won't be successful if you don't have a .com. And I'm going to show you some examples right here. Actually, one of the things that I mentioned at the end of the last video was this storebase.co website, and this is a great source of information in general, But the first thing I want to point out, if we scroll to the bottom, this is just a cool site that groups a bunch of different awesome Shopify stores in different niches. And then if you go to the bottom, you can just look at all of them together and click all Shopify stores that it has. So you can get some good ideas from here. One of the first things I'm going to point out, though, is we'll just scroll down for a little bit, and I bet that we'll find a .co somewhere. Yeah, here you go. Didn't even have to go past the first page to find a website using a .co that looks like they're doing just fine. I mean, this is a beautiful website, and if it's on here, I'm just going to trust the judgment of these sites that they found and think that this site is probably making some money. So I'm sure if we continue to search, we'll find more sites on here. Yeah, here's another one. Okay, so a .co can be successful. All right, I'm going to show you another example. nationalpartsdepot.us. This is a guy that I'm friends with on Facebook. He's released a course already on Shopify. This site has done over $1 million. It's very successful. As a matter of fact, it was featured in the Shopify blog as one of their success stories. So this is just another example of how you can take a domain extension that's not one of the normal common ones you see and still be successful with it. I'm sure that they picked .us because .com wasn't available, but you can see how they worked it into their branding for their site and really turned it into an advantage for them. And they use it right in the logo .us. So you can do that kind of stuff and still be successful. All right, don't think that if you have the perfect name but you don't have a .com available, that you can't be successful with that store still if you really want that name. All right, I would suggest either going with a .us or a .co like these if you can't find a .com. When it comes to .net, that's generally, .net isn't something you usually see for a store. Okay, that's usually blogs or other type deals. And a .org is an education site, so I wouldn't use either one of these. But second choice .co, third choice .us if you have to do it, right? If you have to make that compromise. One of the biggest, just to mention it, because one of the biggest arguments out there that a .co works against you is because people will automatically type in the .com, right? And that's what people say as well. If you get a site that's superdeals.co, people are just automatically going to type in superdeals.com. Which, to a degree, that's kind of stretching it. To a degree, I can see why people are saying that. But at the same time, remember that we're not relying on people to find us by typing in our domain name and search engine traffic. We're going to be directly linking to our products through newsfeed ads that we show people on Facebook and other social media sites. So you don't really have to worry about people remembering your domain name and typing it in, which is one of the reasons why a .co can work or a .us can work, because they're not responsible for typing in the domain. You're sending them there when they click a link interested in your product, okay? So I think that's enough on domain names. You can, research more about that on your own if you want to. Just remember, the name is going to be the most important part, the root name that you choose. And you just want to have, no matter what, you want to have an actual store domain. You don't want to be using a .shopify domain. So those are the most important things to remember, and I think that you'll be able to come up with something, okay? Another reason this store-based.co website is awesome is just because if you look at it, you can see these are all Shopify stores, and you can get great examples of design and ideas for how people are setting up and running their stores, all right? A lot of these are free themes that are being used as well. This is a free theme. This is a free theme. And this is a free theme. This is the Brooklyn theme. I can't remember what this one is called, but you'll see them if you go and look in the free themes. So you can just get an idea here, see how they're using logos, see how they're using images and structuring their homepage. And a lot of these are really nice looking sites, different styles, and so you can get an idea. Now, you may not be able to duplicate exactly. Like this, for example, is definitely I would think a paid theme that they bought to have this type of these logos up top here, social media icons. So some of them are going to be paid, but again, the principles of design and composition that you're seeing here are still going to be very beneficial, seeing what they use in their menu titles. And also just getting ideas for store names as well. I actually yesterday, when I was thinking of the store name that I wanted to create for this group, I scrolled through all the pages here and looked at all these different names, just because word association helps. All right, one of the biggest things in coming up with a name is just word association. Write down words. That's why I say word dump. Write down words and names and ideas. Go and look at sources like this and compare and just get ideas and see what comes to your mind. Put some music on and think and let it flow. All right. Another great place for examples, or not examples, for ideas, if you just come in here and you type in Shopify business name generator, you can see this tool that Shopify has, which is pretty cool because you can generate business names. So you can come in here and type in like the keywords super deals, and it'll generate a bunch of random names that are available. These are available domains, so it doesn't generate anything that's not also an available domain. Now, a lot of this stuff is just going to be nonsense, but again, word association, coming through and doing this may give you ideas from seeing different words put together for actually coming up with a store name. All right, so that's all there really is to say about that. It's one of those things that's kind of subjective. Just remember that we're always focused on progress here. So you can change your store name down the road, but whatever you initially put in here as your root domain, your store name, is going to be your store name forever when you go to log in. That doesn't mean you can't change the surface of your store, what is actually shown online, because you can point your root domain to any domain that you purchase anywhere. But that's, you're always going to log in with whatever you choose right here. So once you do that, you'll hit Create Store. And then I'm actually going to switch over to here where you can see the name that I created. All right, the store that I'm going to be doing and creating for this group, I named boldandsocial.com. All right, so let me log in and we'll get started on the next steps, okay? So first thing you're going to want to do when you come in is you're going to go to, it'll say that you're on a free trial, it'll say the free trial. But even though you're on the free trial, you need to select a plan in order to be able to sell products. So you don't have to do it very first thing. I do it very first thing. It's going to walk you into your account to select the plan. You can select the basic Shopify plan, right? Basic monthly Shopify plan. You can select that. And that will be, good enough to get started. All right, and it doesn't charge you until your 60-day trial is up, which is awesome. So you put it in there and you get 60 days to get your store running and moving, and you're not even charged anything until that 60 days is up. Okay, so that's really cool, and that'll be one of the first things you want to set up. You can change your plan type at any time. One of the other plan types that they have is this Shopify Pro plan, I think is what it's called. Oh, and it's just the Shopify. But this is cool. This is $79 a month. But once you get into this thousands of dollars of sales range, this is really helpful because you can get professional reports. All right. So you don't get professional reports at the Shopify level. It'll tell you your daily sales and your daily visitors, and it'll break down your traffic for you a little bit. But Shopify reports are really awesome when you get that, because it'll break down in any time frame you want which items have sold, how many they've sold, gross revenue, revenue by payment methods, revenue by traffic referrers, all kinds of things. So it's really, really advantageous, especially since Facebook is notorious for not tracking your sales correctly. All right, which we'll get into more of that later. So once you choose your Shopify plan, the next thing that you're going to want to come to is just right here in the settings. We're going to walk through the settings and set them up. And this is how I set my store. I just go right through. All right, so you'll set your store name in here. This is a virtual address that I have that I always set up for my stores. And you can see a customer email. So let's talk about the email first, because this is simple. Whatever host you end up using to get your domain, all right, you're going to want to use within that host, they'll have their own email service provider where you can set up an email address for that domain. Personally, I use ipage.com. You don't have to use this, but if you want to know what I use, I use iPage.com. Surprisingly, even though over 1 million customers, they're not very well known in the internet marketing community, but I find that they have one of the best plans. You get free email with it on the $1.99 month plan, as many domain names as you want to, and their support is really good. Their support's outsourced and based in India, I believe, but it's still really good, and I've always been able to get help. And I went to iPage after GoDaddy was just absolutely atrocious. We were running $1 million brand with GoDaddy, and their support was awful. We were hacked several times. We had times where our site was down and we had to, reboot everything. And I will never use GoDaddy again. Personally, I know they're one of the biggest out there, and you can use them, and maybe you've had no bad experiences with them. But in my opinion, GoDaddy has grown too big for its own good and is not able to keep up with quality customer service. But there are also a lot of other sources out there as well. I think that document I shared in the group has a bunch of hosting providers. Shopify actually has a bunch of common hosting providers you can look at as well. I'll bring it up here, even though this is actually for a different part of the store when we get to this. I'm jumping ahead slightly here, but I just want you to see that they have their own domains manual. If you go into the domains manual, you'll see they list like the most popular. So I'm determined to find this now, just because some of you may be looking for a host, and so it's beneficial to show you in this video. Common providers. Look, it's right here. Sometimes when you're making these videos, you don't even see it right away. So here you go. Here's some common providers: Bluehost, Google Domains, Namecheap, GoDaddy, of course, oneandone.com. I haven't heard of some of these other ones, but so you can use any of these really here, and you'll be fine. There's a lot of them out there. HostGator is another one, I believe, that's out there. So again, just if you want to type in best domain host in Google and search some of the third-party sites that rate them, right? All right, so enough of that. Back into where we're at here. Where were we? Settings. All right, so again, you want to have a support email address with a root domain. It's like necessary. Don't try to skip out on this and use a Gmail address or something. That looks so unprofessional. All right, store address. You don't necessarily need to use a virtual address like I do, but that's, and a 800 number like I do, but that's up to you if you want to, number one, even have a phone number present on your website, and number two, if you want to use your own personal address for the store, because you need to have an address no matter what. So it's kind of a matter of using your own personal address or using the store address, because when we get to the part of refunds and returns, you need to have an address. All right, again, this, some of you may be thinking, man, I'm starting with a bootstrap budget. I don't have a lot of money. How much is this going to cost me? But the reality is, how much is it going to cost you not to have it? Okay, because these are some of the things that, who can say, because I did them from the very beginning, but these are probably key ingredients in why my stores have been successful, because they hit on the trust factors of what you expect when you see a store. You expect a store to have a phone number and an address. Now, I don't answer phone calls. I don't have a call center. I just have an 800 number. I'm going to show you the site that I use right now for that. Calltour.com is what I use. There are other 800 number sites out there. I use the virtual office here, and if you come to their pricing, you'll see that it's $5 a month for their standard 0 minutes, just a voicemail pricing. All right, and then when you get in there, you can set up a greeting for your voicemail, and it'll take up to 20 messages at any given time. So whenever you reach 20, you just, every couple of days, you got to check it and empty the messages. I don't actually listen to the messages. Now, that's something I'm considering outsourcing to my VA, but basically, what I have an 800 number for, all right, is people can call it, and you can call the one that you saw in there and listen to what my recording is. I'm not going to say the whole thing, but I basically just tell them how they can check for their order updates, all right, because that's what 99% of people are going to call and use the 800 number for is to get an update on their order or to complain about their order not being there or whatever. We can handle that through email, all right? The 800 number is mostly meant to be a trust factor. People see an 800 number, you're going to see where I put it in my store, and it just, subconsciously it triggers trust, okay? And we're not tricking them because they can call the 800 number and it's just going to be a voicemail that tells them how we want to best serve them, all right? And I actually use my voice in the voicemail, not talking like this. I get hi and, try to talk in my customer service excited voice, but if you know what I'm saying. You can outsource it to Fiverr if you want, pay $5 for some girl with a pretty voice to do it for you if you want to. But either way, the purpose is served, and people are very rarely going to call beforehand. Now, I don't answer the messages. I just go in every couple of days and I clear them out. I've never had a problem because people can reach us via email, and that's how I want them to reach us. I didn't start this business to answer phone calls all day. All right, and sometime when I get to the point of wanting to actually stick with a long-term brand and continue to grow something, then I'll probably end up outsourcing to a call center like most companies do. And that's something that you have available to you as an option, but it's not necessary in the beginning. However, I do recommend the $5 a month 800 number plan here that allows you to have an 800 number and a voicemail for your store. Okay, enough on that. The other thing that I use for the address is ipostal1.com. Again, same thing. There are other sources of virtual addresses out there, but I really like this one because they have pricing here for their green virtual mailing address, $9.99 a month. All right, allows you to receive up to 30 items in the mail per month. They will forward them to you and everything. Now, one thing to mention is in order to have an agent forward your mail for you, you do have to go through an online notary process, which I think it's $25, I believe, which is real simple. And I put it off until I actually had somebody send me something. But again, I've done thousands of orders and I've only had maybe 2 people actually need to send me something back in the mail. All right, and you can have them shred it if you want to. Like if you receive something, they'll send you a picture of what it is. And if you receive it and you want to shred it, then you can just tell them to dispose of it or whatever, or you can have them forward it to you, or they can just store it for you indefinitely for like $1 a month up until you have 30 items. So again, this is a really good thing to have for a very low price, only $10 a month to have your own virtual address that you can even use across multiple stores because it's your address. All you have to do is change the name. All right, and this is mine right here. I picked the Philadelphia address. You can pick any city that you want to in the United States. Well, for the most part, any major city, and they'll give you that address. All right. So that's $15 a month. If you're adding this up, you're at $15 a month, and then your Shopify plan is $30 a month. So right now you're at an overhead of $45 a month to be able to run a store that you have already seen in live evidence and proof can generate you close to $100,000 in sales. All right. So if you ask me, that's a phenomenal, out of this world, probably would shock some business owners to the core compared to what their overhead is to my overhead. So definitely don't get too cheap here in the beginning and realize and understand that $45 a month is not that much. In my last business, again, one of the reasons I left my last business is because it was so overcomplicated, but in the last business that I built, the I Love team, which I showed you, our overhead was in the thousands of dollars a month. All right. We had physical space that we had to rent, and we had a team of people and, all kinds of stuff that just added and added and added, phone numbers, systems, and we actually had people answer the phones there. So, of course, some of that overhead was actually paying employees and part-time contractors and all of that. But I'm talking about into the thousands of dollars a month was our overhead. So when I look at $45 a month in overhead and understand that I can be on a very conservative end, be making 5 to 10 grand in sales, you're talking about just a no-brainer. All right. So I would absolutely recommend that you do these things. And then finally down here, the last thing, you can change the time zone if you want to, and then you can just create your own order ID format prefix. You don't have to do it, but I do it just because, and I always use my store initials. So BAS, bold and social. And then when you're done, you'll just hit save and be good with that. Next thing you'll do, most importantly, of course, is go to your payments and set up your payments. You'll click on Shopify payments and go in there, and that will take you through the steps of putting your bank account in and linking your Shopify payments. There's no reason for me to show you that because it's very simple and my personal information is in there anyway. Same thing with PayPal. Now, a note on PayPal. You're going to hear some stuff out there. Well, maybe you will, maybe you won't. If you're in a bunch of the other e-commerce groups or Shopify groups or whatever, you'll see people ranting and raving about PayPal, and you'll see horror stories about PayPal freezing money on sellers. And, I'm not discrediting any of that, but I want to offer my viewpoint because I've never had a problem with PayPal. Okay. So here's the thing that PayPal does. If you're a brand new seller and you sign up for a business account, and you go on to make, thousands of dollars a month very quickly, PayPal may put a limit on the amount of funds it's willing to release right away. All right. And I've experienced both ends of this. So when I originally got started, I already had a business PayPal account that has been active for probably at least 2 years that I've used in other online marketing ventures, never to the tune of the amount of money I'm making now with Shopify, but I've definitely made money and sent money with my PayPal business account several times over the last, 2 years. So by the time I started Shopify, and, in February is when I started. The last 2 weeks of February is when I started selling. I made $5,000. And then I jumped up to like $35,000 or 40 or something like that immediately the next month in March. But that was split between Shopify and PayPal. So I had maybe about $20,000 come through PayPal, almost immediately that next month after starting a new store. But they didn't look at it as suspicious because I had already been with them for a while with a business account. So, they probably just figured that the normal progression of a business, it took me 2 years to grow to the point of making that type of money. However, when I when I started a new store and took all my best-selling products off of TrendSparks that were kind of all related to one niche, and I moved them to a new store, I started a new PayPal account for that. All right, and I did that because I wanted to be able to have, when it showed up on people's receipts or in their bank statements, I wanted it to be from a different PayPal account. I didn't want it to say TrendSparks when it was a different store, right? So when I did that, I set that up like in July, I think, halfway through July. And I did okay in July, and there was no problems. But then in August was a $93,000 month for me, right? Again, split it between Shopify and PayPal because I'm generally seeing that about half of my payments go through Shopify and half of them go through PayPal. It's been about a 50-50 split since I started doing this, all right? So PayPal withheld some of my money, all right? You got to figure about $40,000 went through PayPal in a month, and they released up to like 20,000 of that, and they withheld they released like 21,000, I think, and they withheld 19,000 that is available to me on September 14th. So 5 days from now, that money's available. Now, I'm not going to open my PayPal account and show you that. Just take my word for it. I have $19,000 in there that's withheld that's going to be available to me on the 14th. And basically, their policy was because of your store being new, we're going to hold this for 3 weeks, they said, and then the funds will be released to you. And then as soon as the new month started in September, any sales in September went right back to immediate availability because that was a new month. So basically, they're just limiting how much I can actually be released in 1 month, okay? And they put my limit. I'm going to request a new limit now that on September 14th, I'm not allowed to, until September 14th, I can't request a higher number. But my limit was like, it started at 15, and then I said, listen, I'm going to make more money than this. Can I bump it? And they bumped it to like 21, and now I can't bump it again to September 14th. All right. So that's the deal with PayPal. Now, you're going to see some people out there that say PayPal froze their money, and sometimes PayPal will shut people down. But the things that you're not seeing behind the scenes, there are a lot of people out there trying to do shady stuff with PayPal, and they will shut you down. And Shopify will shut you down if you're trying to do shady stuff as well. So don't do it. Stay away from it. Make sure you're actually putting quality products on your store and selling stuff that you are supposed to sell, and not ripping customers off. And because if you do, then guess what? Shopify is going to shut you down. PayPal is going to shut you down. You're not going to be able to find a payment provider, and you're going to have blown your chance to make money with Shopify. All right. Same thing with Facebook ads. If you try to run shady stuff on Facebook ads, they will shut you down. You will be banned, and you will have lost your chance to be able to advertise on Facebook, which is, like, in my mind, could be not be. I don't know that there are many things worse for an online entrepreneur right now in today's society than to be banned from Facebook or to be banned from Shopify, right? So just don't do those things, okay? Make your own decision about whether you want to use PayPal or not. I know some people that are not using PayPal and they only use Shopify payments and they have no issues. But PayPal is known and trusted by consumers all across the world. So I don't really know if it hurts your conversions or not to not use PayPal, but it's definitely something to consider, and make your own decision on what you want to do. Me personally, I use it. I've never had any issues, and I also always win disputes in PayPal as well. As long as you can. I don't want to speak too much on PayPal, but it is important because I know that this is a topic of conversation. And I know some people are like, well, why are my conversion rates not as high as yours? And this could be one of those things. All right, I can't say for certain because I've never tested my store without PayPal, but it could be one of those things that's helping my conversion rate because people get to the checkout and they go through PayPal and they feel confident and trust it. All right. But at the same time, you can get disputes on PayPal, and this is another reason that a lot of people say they want to avoid it because they say they can't win disputes. But in my situation, in my experience, I should say, I have never lost a dispute in which I could provide a tracking number for. All right, so same thing. A lot of these sellers out there are selling things the wrong way, and they're not providing tracking for their customers. Well, guess what? You're going to lose the dispute because there's no proof that you actually mailed the item, all right? So, and I'm going to show you this when it comes to adding products. We're going to talk about this. I already mentioned it in the last video. It's called making sure you source products from AliExpress that are e-packet shipping. All right, and that e-packet guarantees that you receive a tracking number, which you can then pass on to your customer, which protects you because PayPal will always you'll always win a dispute if you have a tracking number, okay? That being said, if I do mess up on an order, I do refund people, all right? In my experience, actually, Shopify is the one that you always lose. If you get a chargeback on somebody's credit card, and even if you provide tracking, I've had this happen to me twice now. One of them was actually a big order. It was an order for 5 items. It was like $100 or something, or yeah, something like that. And they said that they didn't receive it, but tracking showed that it was delivered. I provided the tracking number to Shopify and to the credit card company, and I still lost the chargeback. Like, it's absolutely insane and absurd. But in my opinion, PayPal is much better about it because if I provide tracking in a dispute, then this dispute is just something that I always end up winning. All right. So anyway, that's enough on payments. Okay. Next, you're going to want to go to checkout. We'll walk through these settings quickly. Accounts are disabled. I require first and last name. Keep the company name hidden because it's unnecessary. Address line 2 is optional. Phone number hidden. I don't think it's, I don't need their phone numbers. The big one to look at here is collecting consent to send promotional emails to your customers. By default, Shopify will have it set to this. Make sure you change it to customer agrees to receive promotional emails by default. And what that means is when they go to checkout and they put their email address in, there'll be a little box at the bottom that says, I agree to receive promotional emails. It'll automatically be checked unless they choose to uncheck it. That's their option. But more people will allow it to just stay checked, which will allow you to have an email list, which we're going to talk about in the future. So you want that to be on agrees, okay? And then do not automatically fulfill. Then when you get here to your refund privacy and terms of service, you want to click the button to generate a sample refund, click the button to generate privacy, and click the button for here, terms of service. These are important because you need to have these to be able to advertise with basically any paid advertising platform, all right? Facebook included, Google included. So these are links that will appear on your checkout page for your refund policy, privacy policy, and terms of service. And then all you want to do after you do it is go through and just read it and make sure that number one, the email address is correct. You don't want your personal email address in there. And number two, that your address is correct. Okay. So this is again why you need an address. If you want to use your personal address, then go for it. But if not, make sure it's corrected to your virtual address in here in all three of these. All right, and then you're going to want to keep this screen open because we're going to reference this. Or you don't have to keep it open, but I'm going to because we're going to come back to this at another part of this store. All right, next is shipping. Don't worry about what the address is in here because I don't actually print shipping labels and calculate shipping rates through Shopify. Now, one thing I will mention about shipping is that there are apps for shipping that are supposed to be designed to make your life easier, but personally, I don't use them because I have a system here that works very well for me. And you're also going to notice by default when you go into your shipping that it'll have domestic and it'll also have one at the bottom that says rest of the world. Now all of these shipping rates won't be in here. I created these, okay? So you'll want to clear out what's in there, get rid of the one that has rest of the world, because if you don't delete the rest of the world, that will allow people from other countries to basically try to scam you, all right? We're not advertising to the rest of the world at this point. We're advertising to the US. So you don't need that unless there are other countries you specifically plan on advertising to. There will be part of this group in the future. I do plan on spreading international with e-commerce, and I'm working on some cool stuff now that I'm going through. But for now, I'm not doing that, and I'm probably going to separate my stores when I do that, or maybe I won't. I don't know yet. But either way, the problem is that if you ship to worldwide and you have that in there, just be aware that that's where you will find more scammers that will try to use fake credit cards and ship items and then do chargebacks and things like that. So just be careful about that. I delete everything for the rest of the world. And all you have to do is when you see it, you'll just have to click in it and there will be an option at the bottom to delete this zone, and you'll want to delete it. Now, when it comes to your shipping zones and you go to domestic, you'll want to, it'll have a bunch of different rates, and you'll just want to delete out the rates that it has. And I would advise, if you don't want to have to pay for an app, to do what I'm doing here. And I'm going to walk through and explain how this works. Basically, number one, I have free shipping if I want to offer free shipping. Generally, I don't offer free shipping, but it's a cool promotional strategy to be able to run. So I do everything by weight. All right, these are all weight-based all right, these are all weight-based rates, okay? And what that means is I will set the product weight. Now, I don't care what the product actually weighs, so don't get confused. I'm just using the weight as a way for simple addition to control my shipping rates that I want to charge. So for free shipping, basically, if I want to offer free shipping on a product, I'll set the product weight to 0, which means it'll be free shipping for that product. And no matter how many they get, it will always be free shipping for that product because the weight will always add up to 0. All right? Makes sense? And when we get into this, don't worry, you're going to see in the product section, it's very simple where you can set the weight of the product. Here, I'll just show you actually really quickly. I didn't add any products yet, so I'm just going to click this to show you exactly what I mean so you can get a visual if you're new to this. Down here, when you create a product, here you go. You click this, requires shipping, and then you can set the weight here. So if I set the weight to 0 on a product, that means it's going to be free shipping, all right? My standard shipping starts at $4.95, which is generally what I do. I make every item weigh 1 pound. So in here, what I would do is I would set the weight to 1 and have it required for free shipping, which would mean that whenever somebody goes to order this item, it's going to charge them $4.95 shipping. All right, and then you create a tier-based shipping system where I go $1 up in shipping every single time, because if somebody orders 2 items, now it's going to weigh 2 pounds. Remember, each item I make weigh the same. All right, so you want to do this to cover as many different items as somebody can order. So when you're looking at the weight, this is really meant to be, this first number is number of items, okay? So you set the weight range for this number of items. So if somebody orders 1 item, it's $4.95 shipping. If somebody orders 2 items, then it's technically a 2-pound weight because they each weigh a pound, and now it's $5.95 shipping because it falls into this class. All right, hope that makes sense. And it just goes on and continues for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And then I don't go past 12 because I don't think that I'm ever going to have somebody order more than 12 items from my store. The highest I've ever had at one time was 10 items. All right. Well, the biggest order I've ever had, and actually the one that was the chargeback I mentioned, it was a woman that ordered 10 items of the same thing, and then she came back and ordered 5 more. And the first 10 arrived wonderfully, thank God. And then the other 5, she said never arrived, even though it showed that they did, and she did a chargeback on them. But anyway, she didn't order all 15 at once. All right. And so I've never had more than 10 items ordered at once, but I go up to 12 here because, of course, I just want to make sure that, I'm covered. Because basically what happens here is if somebody was to go in and order 11 items, that means that it's a total order weight of 11 pounds because each one of those items weighs a pound. If I don't have a standard shipping rate set up for 11 pounds, then they're not going to be able to check out because it's going to confuse the Shopify system. It's not going to see a shipping rate, and it's not going to let them actually add shipping, which will prevent them from checking out. So you want to make sure your shipping rates are set, and I think 12 is a fair number, but you can go as high as you want to if you think you're going to be getting more than 12 orders at a time. All right. So I hope I explained that clearly. I think it makes a lot of sense when you get to see it and look at it just like this and see how it works with the weight-based rate here. On a side note, to mention free plus shipping. All right, if you've heard of this promotional strategy, it's basically just like an infomercial, all right, where they'll offer an item for free and say all you pay is shipping and handling. We're going to talk about this in a separate video. It's a popular promotional strategy in e-commerce because you're offering something for free and then they just come to pay shipping, but you obviously want to charge a higher shipping rate. So for people who know about this strategy, all right, if you don't know about it, then just kind of hear what I'm saying and understand it. We're going to come back to it later, and it doesn't really matter to you for now. But for those people who do know what I'm talking about, the way that I do that is I just start my product weight at 6 pounds or whatever I want it to be. If I want to charge $8.95 shipping, I start it at 5 pounds. So instead, I would come in here, I would make the price of the product 0, and then I would make this 6 pounds. So that means that when they go to checkout, they're going to get a $9.95 shipping rate on that. All right, and then you're wondering, well, you're only up to 12 pounds, so what happens if they order 2? Well, they order 2, it's going to go to 12 pounds, right? So now they're paying $15.95 shipping. And then I would just continue to add multiples of 6, all right? Because I know that nobody's really ever going to order, and this is how you can kind of finish out your store. So for 3 items, let's say I want to go up $5.95 each time. That's how I get to $15.95 for 12 plus 5.95 again. So $21.85 shipping when it comes to 3 items. So basically what I would have to do here is I'd add a rate that covers 13 to whatever that other multiple of 6 would be, right? So it'd be 18.9, not free shipping. And then I'd put that number in here, $21.95, done. All right, so now I'm covered. So if anybody orders any amount of items normally over 12, say they order 14 items, well, they're just going to fall in the range here of $21.95 shipping. But also for my free plus shipping offer, if they decide to order 3 of those items at a 6-pound weight, well, now they fall into my 18-pound class range right here, and they're going to be at $21.95. And then I would just do the same thing for the next class range. All right, I would make a weight that goes from 19 pounds to 24.9 pounds, all right, and I would make it plus $5.95. So I'll do one more just to show you and make sure that's making sense. 27.9. I just rounded up to 9.5 because I like to. All right, so you understand how that works now, and this is a clever system for being able to use weight-based shipping to cover all of your shipping costs in your store and not have to pay for an expensive app. We're just doing simple math here and making sure that the numbers make sense for what we're doing. All right. Now, if you're wondering if people pay this much shipping for free products, yes, they do. I've done it personally. I've seen others do it personally. So just trust me, they do. But we're going to talk about the free plus shipping model in another video. So hopefully all of that makes sense. I'm not going to continue with this multiples of 6 thing because I don't plan on running any free plus shipping offers in the near future. So we'll come back to that another time. But for now, if you duplicate this exactly, then you're going to be good because this is how I'm going to be running the store and going through everything else. So you'll be on the same page as me. All right. Or you can choose your own shipping option, whatever you want to do. Another thing you can do is a price-based rate, which I don't do often, but you'll see some people run these promotions where they'll be like, anything over $50 gets free shipping. So you would just do that here, and call it whatever you wanted to, free shipping promotion. And then you could have like a promotion bar on the top of your store that says order $50 worth of stuff and get free shipping, right? And some people think that's like, that it helps conversions, and maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. I don't personally use it, but you're welcome to try that with your store. Taxes I don't worry about. I don't charge taxes on my store. I don't know, some people might, but in all of my e-commerce business, I never charge taxes, which I know means that I eat a little bit more on the back end for my taxes, but I think it helps with conversions and is just kind of a goodwill thing for customers. So my personal opinion, you can charge taxes if you want. You can set that up right in the product up here to charge taxes. I always uncheck that, all right, when I do my products. Notifications. I only change in here. The only thing I change, you can disable if you want to. Now, when you're first getting started in your store, it might be cool. I mean, believe me, for me, I love getting emails knowing, and still actually on some of my stores, I like getting an email knowing when I get a sale. So you can keep that there, but if you want to disable it, you can. And then the only thing I change here in the order notifications is the order confirmation. All right, so you can click on that. And then I have a text file I'll share. Mine's already in here, but I will share this exact text file with you so that you can just copy and paste the whole thing just like I did. All right, and this basically covers giving them a receipt, confirmation of their order, and then some basic questions here that they may be curious about when it comes to their item. All right. I don't mess with any of these other things because I don't generally need to use them. Shipping confirmation is the one that I'll mention here. I don't send a shipping confirmation, but if you want to send a shipping confirmation, then you can come here and consider editing this file here to say what you want to say. You'll keep all the HTML the same, but if you want to add something at the bottom, it gets a little confusing, and personally, I don't send shipping confirmations, so I just want to mention it because some people may be wondering, like, well, what about a shipping confirmation? All right, files. You'll see I uploaded some files already. You don't have to do this here. You can upload it directly from the page that you're actually doing, but we'll talk more about these when I get to them, okay? This is where, though, your settings and your files is where you can upload image files and other types of files to use in your store, or where you can delete files that you're no longer using. Sales channels is not really important because you're already set up on your plan. And then account we already did. Okay, so that's your general settings. All right, now I know we're at 53 minutes here, but we still got some more stuff to go through, okay? Next is where we want to come into our online store. All right, and you're going to set your theme up. Now you see mine's already set. I did walk through this live demonstration, well, not live, but recorded demonstration yesterday as I did it, but I'm just going to walk you through the basics of it now, and you'll just get to see the finished product, and I think it'll still serve the same purpose for you. So you'll come to Visit Theme Store because you're not going to want to use the basic theme Shopify starts you with. And then you'll notice you have two options, free or premium. There are some beautiful premium themes. You can go to themeforest.com and find some beautiful premium themes, but you also can do just fine with a free theme. All right, you'll probably notice some of these themes, if you look at them, were being used by some of those great sites that we saw on storebase.co. All right, and they're all plug and play, very editable, but they all have their own different, unique ways of presenting things. So don't just go by how the homepage looks. You want to research a little bit on a theme that works for you. For example, the Brooklyn theme. I absolutely love the homepage and the way that they have this full banner image and then the logo and the menu bar already in it. However, I don't like the way their product page is set up. So I don't use it, because if you come to their product page, you'll see, you can change the fonts and stuff, but things like the way that they put their options in here, I don't like that. I prefer a drop-down menu. I don't like the way they put their pricing here, and I don't like the way they stack images on top of each other like that. All right, so I choose not to go with this theme. So you want to look at that kind of stuff and make sure the theme that you're using is definitely all around what you want it to look like. Personally, the theme that I use on almost every one of my stores is this one, supply theme here. All right. So you can use this if you want to, or you can choose from any of the other free themes. There's a lot of great ones. This is the one that I installed already, so I'm not going to do it again. And then when you install it, it'll take you back to this screen, and you'll want to go in here and customize your theme. All right. And I've already done it, of course, as you can see, but I'm going to walk you through the process. All right, so first of all, I go to colors, and when you look at your theme, it's going to be like set to the default. So you're going to see a whole bunch of stuff on here that is not on mine right now because I already changed it. So, which is here, because if you go to homepage here, when you see yours, it's probably going to have all this stuff up. Featured content, featured collections. And so you're going to have these things in there, all right, which is good in the beginning when you're looking at the colors, because it helps you see what your colors are. Like, you can click on these and drag them around to see how your primary color content changes. Say secondary content, same thing. You'll see how secondary content changes. So it's good to have the live version up as you are looking at it. Because you can see everything, all right? And this is meant for you to design it how you want to design. So you're seeing me as an example, but yours, like when it starts, I think it'll look something like this because it has the blue background. But I change mine to white. I always like a white header and then a colored menu bar, which is here, the main menu background, which you can change to any color that you want to. As a matter of fact, I kind of like that color better. Very slight variation, but secondary content you can see is down here. That's what that is. But I'm just going to do like a gray color. And then primary content, since I changed the one, I have to change them all now, because I actually want to save that, where before I didn't think I did. So I want a dark gray for that. And everything else I'm probably going to leave the same, except I'm going to copy this. So if you want to take a color and copy it across different things, come down here and grab the color code, and then you can put it in right here, and it'll automatically recognize that color. Right? And I do that a lot of times because I like the uniformity when I pick my main blue color or whatever color I choose. So that's like my main uniform color now that I'm going to use across the whole thing. So you can change everything, and from the footer as well. The background color for the footer, you can make whatever color you want it to be. I actually might go a little bit lighter on mine, like that. And then the social media icons as well down here at the bottom. So that's how you change the colors. Again, it's just a matter of playing around, seeing what you like. Typography, you'll see that I already changed mine. And you can see in live demonstration when you change something, it'll just refresh up here, and then you'll see whatever you changed, you'll see it change. So I'm going to keep the ones that I have. You can change the sizes. This is the base style here, which is going to be this stuff. Helvetica New is a very popular professional font, so you can use that, or you can change it to whatever you think you want your site to look like. Okay, capitalized buttons. I didn't have that set, but I am going to set that. All right. Header. This is where you put your logo in. All right. You can see this is a logo. I designed this. I did this in Photoshop. If you don't have Photoshop, you can go with Fiverr. Pay $5 to have someone design you a logo. Just make sure you give them clear intentions of kind of the style or design you're looking for. Look on Google and get some ideas for logos. Don't steal a logo off Google, but you can go to Google and look at like e-commerce logos, right? And come to images and get some ideas and just go through. All right, there's a lot of stuff out there, and then you can take the logo and go to that's kind of cool. You can go to Fiverr and say, hey, listen, I want something in this type of style, but I want it to say this, right? So create a logo for your store. Definitely do that though. Don't just put like boring text up there. Okay, put a logo in. That's a huge factor. All right. I have a favicon. I also did this myself. The favicon is what you see up here. So like if I actually go to my site, should have it in there. See, so that's what a favicon is. All right. And I just took the image of this dog here and shrunk it down and made it grayscale, which maybe I should put it back to color. I don't know. I've been thinking about that since I did it. And then something that my theme does, not every theme has this, is this little menu bar for up here. So what I typed in here is what shows up here. And again, I think this is a conversion rate factor, definitely, because any page people go to, they see this in the header. And whether they plan on calling that number or not, it just gives them a little comfort in knowing that this site has an 800 number. All right. Footer. Same thing, really. I'm going to show you how to edit the footer menu in a different section, but this is what it will look like when it's all done. The get in touch spot, again, your theme may be different depending on what you choose. This is how I put my contact text in there. All right, have my support email address, again, the 800 number. And if you're wondering what this little bracket thing is, that is HTML code for space. Because if you don't put that in the middle, in spots like this, it doesn't recognize that you're trying to do a new line. So this is an HTML code to separate for a new line, basically. I do keep the newsletter, even though I don't have an actual newsletter right now. I keep it there just because, again, it looks more established if they think you do have a newsletter, and it takes up space here that otherwise would be just blank. All right. And when you do want to set one up, all you have to do is put the MailChimp code in here. Social media icons are these. I would definitely leave those there. Again, they just add to the overall factor. This powered by Shopify you see down here, I actually like that. You could get rid of that if you wanted to by going into the HTML root code and taking that out where you see it. But I think that's actually pretty cool because Shopify is a very credible brand at this point in shopping and e-commerce. All right, homepage. For now, I took out everything else. You get the option to have a couple things stacked on your homepage. But for now, since I don't have any products and I don't have any collections, I just have my banner here, which I think is awesome, by the way. I hope you like my little Jack Russell buddy here. I'm going to talk more about him in a second. So that's the slideshow that I have set. Again, every theme may be a little bit different. And then here is where you can edit each parts of those options. All right. So here is where, I could put in several slides if I wanted to and make them link to something, but I just have this Jack Russell. All right, so a couple things to talk about here are, number one, not many people are going to go to your homepage. All right, remember, we're not building a site at this point. The intention is not building a site to be found in the search engines where people are going to land on your homepage, okay? We are linking directly to the product page from the product that we're advertising, as you saw in the first video when I went over the strategy. So your homepage, still, you want it to look cool, you want it to be nice, but it's going to be secondary to your product page, because that's where people are going to land, and that's really where the buying decision is going to be made. Many people are probably never, ever even going to see your homepage. All right, now that doesn't mean you don't want a cool homepage, okay? You definitely want something catchy, something that pops. All right, which is why I chose this right here, because the whole theme of what I'm trying to do with this site is just make a fun shopping experience, make it seem social, just like the name says, bold and social. I already gave you like my thinking behind that in wanting to just have people understand and make it make sense, because we're doing our advertising through social media. So I wanted to come up with a little bit of a play on that, and also kind of a play on what I'm doing with the group here. This is the site, this is a fun shopping experience that we're creating. It's meant to be social and meant to be bold. And so, this image I just thought was perfect when I found it, with this dog doing that with the mic. I mean, if you look at this and it doesn't make you smile or laugh, I don't know what to say. But and then I added this text is myself. I put that in there in Photoshop. It was very simple, and just saved it and uploaded it as the file size. So it gives you the recommended pixel size here, and I'm sure yours will as well, whatever theme you use. And you can do multiple sides and enable them to rotate. But again, I don't find it necessary. I just want this one for now. All right. Where I got this image was a site called 123rf.com. This is a stock photos site where you can get them royalty free. Now, you still have to pay for them. I don't always do this. You can also use Google Images, but sometimes if you really want a quality, crisp, clean photo, this is like one of the best places you can go to get it. All right, $39 for 40 credits, and then the pictures are about 3 or 4 credits to download usually. So you can get 9, 10 really high quality photos to use on your sites if you want to. If you don't want to, just go to Google Images and find something cool. Like I don't even know what else I would put in here for this, but it's like I could search fashion, social, I guess, and see what comes up, and see if there's any cool images that come up that I can use. And if you find something cool, then you can take it and use that as your slide as well. You just may need to resize it in a photo editor, okay? Or again, you can go to Fiverr and have somebody there do the work for you. All right. There's definitely, when it comes to this, you can do search tools, and you can search by large sizes, so you can do it and find pictures that are actually the size that you need. That way you're not sifting through pictures that are too small. But I've used Google Images a lot just for finding images to use. So you can absolutely do this. This is how I found my TrendSparks image. I forget what I did. I think I actually just typed in something like "be different." Yeah, and there it was right there. So just a wallpaper that I found. Now this is a blurry one, but I'm sure I did my searches and I found the real one somewhere in here, and then resized it for whatever I wanted to do. So you can definitely use Google Images, find something that you want. In this case, I want this store to really kind of pop, because I'm using it not only to make money, but also to show you guys what I'm doing. So I thought it was a good example to show you where you can get some paid photos, and then just know that the free photos are an option as well. You just might have to dig deeper and a little longer and harder to find them. These here will let you set, again, I don't have any featured, so if I were to come here and set, they give me options. I can put content collections and collection rows on my homepage, and then these are the corresponding deals here. So if I put featured collections, then I would have to come in here and select the collections that I wanted to show up in featured. So I don't have anything yet, so I can't do that, and that's why I have it disabled. Product page, I do enable is an image zoom, show quantity selector. I'm actually glad I came back through this. Show remaining quantity is not needed. Don't show the vendor. Show saved amount, yes. Show compare at price, yes. Show related products, yes. You can enable product reviews if you want to, but I don't personally think it's necessary. I may come back and enable that later. because it is something cool that you can do, but I don't think it's necessary. I'm leaving it like that for now. Collection page, I always have mine filtered by tag. We'll talk about that more later. Cart page, nothing to do here. I don't like order notes, by the way, because they're just confusing to my virtual assistants, so I leave that blank. And then you also run the risk of, if you enable order notes, somebody saying, please include message, from this person if they send it as a gift. And I can't actually do that, so it's better just to leave your order notes out. Social media, I do keep this all set to share and enable product sharing and show all of that. However, I don't put in the Facebook page. I'm going to create a Facebook page for Bold and Social so that I can retarget my customers, and eventually it will grow and get likes and things like that. But I don't want to show it in the beginning and create accounts for all these, because they're going to have 0 followers. A lot of people make this mistake. They think, oh, if I just go and create an account for everything and then add it, it's going to make me look like I'm cool and like I have a lot of social media, until somebody actually decides to click on those accounts and see that you have 0 followers and 0 posts and 0 likes, So it's better in this case to just not use that at all until you get to the point that you've built some of these accounts up, and then you can show them on your website. Again, my personal opinion, but that's the way that I do it. Price format, fine how it is. Checkout. Checkout will usually give you some options to edit some of these things, but I find it difficult to size them correctly where it looks proportionate, and so I leave all this stuff blank. All right, and just let it be the basic checkout that it already is. So that's everything walking through there. And when you're all said and done, you should have something that looks similar to this, right? And you can actually live, go through, and I have my pages set up, but you can go through. We're not adding products yet, so there's not going to be anything in shop, but for now, you just want to get the basic outline and format set up of your site, okay? Back to themes page. All right, when you originally get started, you're going to notice my navigation looks different than yours, and that's because we didn't get into the navigation section yet. You can edit your navigation. So you're going to want to create a couple pages like you see that I have, and you're going to want to get rid of some stuff out of your navigation. Like I don't have a blog in my navigation, as you see, because I don't find it necessary to blog on my store. All right, so I'm not going to be worried about blog posts at all. Before I go into pages, I'm going to come here to apps and tell you that you want to download this improved contact form. All right, so you'll visit the Shopify App Store. You'll come here, you'll type in contact form, and you'll find this improved contact form. It's completely free, and you want to install that, okay? And this is an awesome app that allows you to have this contact us button right here, and also allows you to create a contact page that has this template in here for people to use. Okay, so you'll install that and then quickly set your settings. Make sure your support email address is what is in here, because by default it may use your personal. And then I also, for the style, I put the button on the left. By default it shows up on the right. So you'll do that. You'll update your email. You'll change your contact button style. You can make it one of these if you want to as well. And if you use one of these, you can customize the text and then save changes. And then once you've done that, you're going to come back to pages. All right. These are the pages that you want to create. I'm going to start with the easiest ones. Remember over here, we did these generated things. Okay. So what you're going to want to do is add a page for each one of these. So I already created them. Hopefully this doesn't confuse you. I'm not going to click add a page. I'm just going to click on the page. So you'll add a page. You'll name it refund policy. You'll come over here. You'll control select everything, copy it, directly paste it right into here, and then save your page. Okay? And it's that simple. That's your refund policy page. You're going to repeat that process for each one of these. All right? You'll add a page, name it privacy policy, come down here, select everything, copy it, and then just paste it right into here, and then save the page. And now you have your privacy policy page, and then lastly will be terms of service, which is right here. Same thing, select everything, copy, paste the whole thing in here, save the page, and now you have actual pages for all of these, which is important because if you remember, I put them in the footer here, so they're right here. So if somebody clicks on that, it takes them to an actual refund policy page. All right. The thing that this does when you generate these samples is it just puts them in your checkout page, which is good. You want that, but it's different than what I'm doing here. All right. This is an extra step that is even better to have these at the bottom in the footer so people can actually see them before they get to the checkout page. Because remember, the whole idea about conversions is to get people from the product page to the checkout page. So this is something that helps get them there. Otherwise, they would never even see that you have those. All right. Once you've done that, then you can close this. Okay. Homepage is just by default. I don't use anything for the homepage. You'll want to create an About Us, Contact Us, and an FAQs. All right, so Contact Us is easy. You'll add a new page. You'll come in here, and then over here on the side, this is another one of the reasons why we download that improved contact form, because it gives us this template, page.contact. So make sure you select this, because that's what allows us to have that little menu. You can't see it in here, but that contact form at the bottom is because of this template. All right. This is just a Google image right here that I searched. You can go to Google and just type in Contact Us and search images and pick anything that you think relates to your business. All right. Of course, you know, it's obviously people don't think that this woman actually works here, but it's a friendly, inviting photo. It adds some color and some contrast to the page. It would look really boring not to have any type of picture there at all. So you can be creative and add something different if you want, but this is what mine is, and then it just has some basic text in here. You can email us at support or use the contact form below. All right. When you're done, you'll save that. The next two pages, actually no, before we get to the About Us, we'll go to FAQs, because this is also an easy page because I'm giving you this cookie cutter template. I'm going to let you guys use this. I mean, you can just go to my site, obviously, and go to the FAQs page and copy and paste everything if you want to. But at the same time, I'm also going to make this available in a Word document for everyone. And all this really is, you can go through and read this if you want to. I'm not going to do it here because it's not necessary. It's just an FAQs page where I basically tried to cover all the different points. Basic refund policy for the different types of items, retail, shirts, and free promotional items. My address that they can send things back to, shirt exchanges, because I do plan on selling shirts, just so you know. We'll get more into custom merchandise later. Shipping. You can change your shipping to be whatever you want. I have normal shipping $3.95, promotional items $8.95. Do we ship internationally? I say no for now. How do I track? So again, you can use all of this and you can then edit it for what you want, including this link right here, which is a link that works with the T-Launch app. All right. So if you end up using a different fulfillment for your shirts, we'll talk about that. But this is an actual sizing guide people can see for shirts, and then non-apparel items. And so you can use this. Just make sure, of course, you find all the spots where you need to change your email address and all the spots where you need to change your actual address and name, and you'll have your own FAQs page. All right. Something that, again, I think is great to have, and I think one of those trust factors. All right. Lastly is an About Us page. Also important. All right, now it's showing up kind of weird in here, so I'm just going to click on my actual About Us page so you can see what it looks like on the site. But this is something you want to have, and you want to put some thought into it. I'll read mine out really quickly because I do have a lot of experience and skills that I've worked on over the years in writing and copywriting, sales writing, whatever you want to call it, and just basic creative writing as well. This is another image, by the way, that I got from 123rf.com. I really liked it. I thought it was kind of a fun image. Bold and Social is a new type of online retail shop where we base all of our items for sale on the most popular things we see throughout social media. The Bold and Social team is a group of experienced entrepreneurs from all different backgrounds who, just like you, enjoy shopping for our favorite items online. And so we set out to create a better experience for people and to really find those items that people love to share and talk about. Then we used our network of worldwide distributors and manufacturers to make sure we can always deliver the best items right to your doorstep. At the end of the day, we're just having fun and trying to share our passion for great online shopping with people everywhere. We hope you enjoy our store, and please let us know if you have questions or suggestions. All right. So that's, really kind of simple, but at the same time, don't undervalue the simplicity of it, because I think it hits on a lot of points. I think without specifically explaining the store name, it really does subjectively kind of put that idea in there of what this store is, what it's all about, and I think it ties everything together. Not everybody's going to look at your About Us page, but it's good to have it in case they do. It's good to have a fun, nice little type of story that also offers some explanation and some details about who you are and what you're doing as well. So, please don't copy this. I mean, obviously, I'm not going to know if you do really, but I would highly suggest that you work on your own writing skills, or outsource it, or pay somebody to write it, because writing is something that is very personalized. So you really should take the time to get good at this, because it's a skill set that will go very far for you in business. All right, in all aspects of business. If you can write, you can write good emails. That helps in customer service and creating templates. It helps in working with vendors. It helps in working out business deals. It helps in your copy on your website and in your ads, and it just helps in getting your message across and explaining yourself on social media. So writing is something that you should definitely take the time to work on your own and not shortcut the process. All right. And that's everything. At that point, you have all your pages set up. All right. I would have all your pages just like I have mine here. And then you're going to come to navigation. Yours is going to look different in the beginning, but what you want to do is make it look like mine. All right. We just went through and created all the pages. So it's as simple as coming to edit menu, delete the ones that you don't want there, and then add the menu items that you do want there. Type in what you want the name of it to be. So if I was redoing the FAQs, I'd type in FAQs. It's a page, and then I would select the page. It will already have all the pages that you created for you to select. So you have options here. Like you can see, shop takes people to collections, all right? And that's on my store. That's why it does that. So you could do anything you wanted here. You could send people to a web address off your website if you really wanted to, by putting a web address in here and naming that, whatever you wanted to name it. You can send them to your blog, search page, and then a specific collection if you wanted to send them to a specific one. I don't have any yet, but you could, create, like, if you wanted to do shop dogs, say you're selling some dog gear and you wanted to make that specific on your menu, then you could do that and say shop dogs and make that specific collection once you create it. So you can do some different things with menus. For now, I would just set it up to look like this, all right, or add your own touch if you want to. And then the footer menu, same thing. It's going to look different, but here's how I have mine set up. Contact us, refund policy, privacy, terms of service. That's why we created those pages, so that you can come in here, create a menu item, refund policy, select the page, and then go here and get the refund policy page. That way people can see that and access it if they want to. And I do recommend putting the contact us in the footer, even though it's also in the top menu, because it's just good to have different signs of contact all over your website, because again, trust factor. People feel like they can get a hold of you if they need to. All right, so you'll set those up and your website will automatically populate them the way that they should be, where they should be, and that's all there really is to that. Next thing is domains, and we're almost at the end, guys. All right, so you'll add an existing domain when you come here, and you'll add the domain that you purchased. This is your root domain, as I talked about in the beginning, .myshopify.com. Your root domain will always be the same. When you go and log in to Shopify, you will always use this. You can change your surface domain anytime you want to by just adding in the existing domain and then redirecting the traffic. All right, so you can, if I wanted to someday down the line decide to call it socialandbold.com, I could just switch it around and redirect it, but this will always be the root domain for this store no matter what. This is how Shopify will always recognize this store and how I will always log in. All right, so just wanted to mention that. And then when you first do it, your status is not going to be set to OK. It'll be set to pending or verifying or whatever it says. And your SSL certificates won't be set either because it does that automatically. So when you set your domain up and you add your existing domain, Shopify is going to bring a pop-up screen that gives you directions on how to set your domain up. I'm not going to go over it here because Shopify gives you directions, all right? So it'll show you based on whoever your host is. If you go with one of the popular ones, it will explain to you how you point your domain to your Shopify store, all right? So if you don't understand that, basically what that means is that you're buying this domain, boldandsocial.com is what I bought. But until I actually pointed that domain to this Shopify store, it was just a domain out there in, the interweb, just floating out there doing nothing, not going anywhere. So it was on my host, and I had to go into my host and point it to my Shopify store and then set it up here to redirect all traffic. And then it takes 24 hours to propagate, as they call it, and then it'll all be set to OK. This is something you can get help with through Shopify support. If you need help, you'll see down here, you can always click down here and get Shopify Help Center, where you can live chat, or you can also get help from whoever your hosting provider is. I'm sure they have live chat. So enough said on that. And then the last thing you'll want to do is come to your preferences, name your homepage, whatever your store name is, drop a little home tag meta description in here. You can see mine, the online shop where we bring you the hottest items is rated by you through social media. We'll get into Google Analytics and the Pixel ID in a later video because it's a separate topic that will require its own video. And then make sure you take your password off when you're ready because this will automatically be set by default. So, if you have your password on, obviously you don't want to get to running traffic and have your store password protected. So you'll want to take that off and make sure your store is live and ready to go. The next step will be coming here to add products and start getting into some collections and some apps as well. But for now, that's everything for this video. I've walked you through the entire process of setting it up, and you can start adding products on your own. But I will be creating a video that starts going through adding products and collections. And as well, in closing to this, remember, this is going to be the group store. And my intention here is to build this store over time and, build this store in sales. Like my real intention is to get it to $100,000 in sales with you guys over the next couple months. Now, whether that's going to be possible or not, I guess will depend on how many rip-off artists we have in the group. Because if everybody just tries to copy what I'm doing, then it's going to work against me, and I'm not going to be able to do that effectively. But my intention is definitely to try to do that by creating collections and products in here that we're actually going to sell. So if you have any ideas in that regard, feel free to drop them in the comments and share them, and we can take them into consideration for this store. But in the next video, I am going to start getting into adding products and collections and talking about some of the apps that we're going to be using as well. So that's everything for this video. Hope you found an immense amount of value in it. I look forward to sharing more with you in the next one. Talk to you later. Have a great day.